Hello and welcome to Sunrise Daily this beautiful Tuesday morning. I'm Ayo Makinde.
From Abuja, good morning. I'm Maupe Ogunyusuf.
Well, interestingly, this morning, as we go straight to the papers, as is our custom sometimes, we have with us Dr. Marcel Mbamalu, who is Editor-in-Chief, Prime Business Africa, and he's also a development journalism expert. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Ayo. Good to be here once again.
Okay, well, let's begin with your former alma mater now.
Well, whatever.
Okay, the Guardian newspaper is our first pick this morning, and it's talking about Omicron. WHO flags Omicron high risk as businesses react. That's the lead of the paper this morning, set to hammer out global pandemic strategy, vaccine equity agreement. AFDB suspends Africa Investment Forum due to travel restrictions. FG monitoring says no case detected yet. PSC variant may be on its way to Nigeria. Government to issue new travel guidelines today, insists federal civil servants must show evidence of being vaccinated tomorrow. That's the 1st of December, going by the earlier made deadline that was stated. What do you make of all of this? Omicron seems to be becoming increasingly famous.
Yeah, we've been here for let's go into 2 years now. We've been with COVID, and I know that time it came up in early 2020. World Health Organization warned. It said we're going to live with this for a very long time. It's going to be like HIV. It might not really go as we had thought, So, but the important thing is, for this, I think there has been a lot of back and forth about the way the world is handling it, Europe, the US, and the rest, because it's more or less an African thing, this particular variant, because it has about 30 mutations or something like that, could make it almost impossible for your defense mechanism in the body to actually evade it. So, but having said that, part of the thing we should be looking at in Nigeria is what have we done over the time? I don't think we are really, I think we're something is being done, but I don't think we are really being very active enough in doing the right thing in terms of the research that is required, in terms of whatever. Good a thing that Omicron seen in South Africa responded very, very effectively, and that's because they have an existing system, research, and they've always had that system, and it's working out for them. So I think it's a wake-up call for us to consistently and on a running schedule have look at research as a very key investment and be consistent with what we are doing. So Omicron is going to be really, really, really disastrous for Africa because of the politics, the global politics on it. Right now, the travel bans, Africa is almost being segregated. But I think it's something that we keep on holding discussions on.
Well, glad to know at least from the agencies of government that there's some work being done in the area of research, as you have mentioned, in order for us to begin to produce vaccines locally. Well, to politics, can one say, right under the picture you see there and beside that picture of Lionel Messi, APC crisis gets messier as faction nullifies Boni's committee. Stories on page 2. Seems politics is just not ready to go away from our headlines.
Yeah, I like that, from our headlines. Politics, I think politics is a different ball game, and with what is happening, even within the party, it's not just the APC. I think we are yet to actually grow politically. When you say nullify, for example, you look at
well, the nullifies instantly is in parentheses.
Yes, so. Okay, yeah, okay. So it's actually, that's what we expect. We are heading to 2023. You will see a lot of horse trading, a lot of mutations, if you like, using borrowing from COVID-19 terminology.
Okay. Well, interestingly, we have a PDP story on the front page as well. PDP seeks stronger coalition against misrule. That one is also in parentheses. Stories on page 4. But there is just this one before we go to Abuja. 13,241 Nigerians unlawfully killed by security forces in 10 years. That's definitely from some report somewhere, the story you find on page 4. Let's just hope that, I mean, I don't know what you make of that.
But these are figures that we can lay our hands on. One of the ones that are not documented. I think there's been a lot of, look at NSAS protest, look at the issues around, look at the ding-dong, look at the propaganda, look at all of those. I think Africa, not just Nigeria, you know, is still backwards in terms of human rights, in terms of extrajudicial killing and all of those. I think we need to wake up. Leadership has to wake up, and there should be a kind of accountability. There should be, people should pay for their crime. It's not just over 10 years. Even from the last 20 years, there have been unresolved killings by unknown security agents, unknown, if you like. You know, I think the moment we begin to, you know, hold people accountable, those in leadership, those in the military, those in the other security arms of government accountable, then we begin to have traction in other areas, not just security, even in physical development, even in infrastructure and everything. Because without human rights protected, without people having justice for, and opportunity we have right now is this NSAS, the probe report. I think we need to do the right thing. If we do the right thing, it sends the right signal to other spheres of our unresolved cases. So I think we need to, all of those, let's just focus on this NSAS thing and see what happens. And I'm sure government will really do something to redeem itself from that. Yeah.
All right, well, that's the Guardian newspaper this morning. Malcolm?
Well, let's take a look, excuse me, at the Daily Trust, and they have this one still on COVID-19. Last-minute rush as federal government bars unvaccinated workers tomorrow. Government reviews travels, airports on alert over Omicron variant. We should resist unscientific travel restrictions. That's according to Ramaphosa, South Africa's president, who's expected in Nigeria, by the way, today. AFDB suspends investment forum. WHO raises fresh alarm. But I think the picture is what I find pretty interesting this morning, because don't forget that on this program, we've always asked whether or not there have been creative ways to take the vaccines to the people, even as the federal government has set a deadline for its workers. So you see the picture there saying that staff of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency are administering free COVID-19 vaccination to members of the public at the Federal Secretariat. So at least it's been backed up with some support. But the story which I'd love you to comment on, Marcel, is this one. Just prison attack. 11 killed, 252 inmates escaped. This is like, I don't know how many prison breaks we've had now, but if, at least from the ones I can remember, it was saying that this is about the 4th one we're recording this year alone. Why do you think that, you know, we're seeing a proliferation, if I'm to use that word, of prison breaks?
Yeah, I think, thank you, Mayobe. I think it's all a reflection of the general insecurity we have in the country. The incessant jailbreaks that we're having right now is reflective of the fact that we still need to do much more, not just in terms of budgeting for security, but in terms of getting all the security apparatus do the right things, using the available resources they have at the moment. When you hear a cry in the morning and then in the night, and then there's a death reported in the morning, then you know that something is amiss. So I think what is happening is that we have not gotten our anti-terrorism fight right. And the moment we get it right, and it will reflect in, you know, a kind of the fight that we're having right now against prison breaks. I think most of these people who are on the loose, most of the terrorists who have been on the loose, have actually been the ones doing this. But I think we need to go back to the drawing board and look at what we have done concerning those arrested, those who have released, even those that have asked to go back to society, and all of those, what is happening. So if you look at these prison breaks and attacks, you see that they are coordinated, and you see that they use superior firearm, and then they go all out to get what they want. So I think we need to do something about that. And doing something about that means not just bulletin, as I said earlier, but going all the way to address the issues from the source.
Okay, let me ask you this. I don't know whether how you thought the story was going to end yesterday was how it ended, because it would seem that the story was developing somewhat, that these people who attacked the jail, or the correctional center, if you like, had gone and freed the inmates, but somehow became trapped in the correctional center because the security agencies responded on time, or so we thought. So they were surrounded. And we thought, okay, we're going to see some arrests, or we don't know, but in such a way that the people who had carried out the attack, at least they will be apprehended, whether alive or dead. But that didn't seem to be what transpired. I don't know how, if you followed the story as it was developing, but was it how we thought it was going to end, that it ended?
Yeah, I actually, some part of your questions I didn't get, but if I understand what you're trying to say is, I think the just prison break, you are just specifically talking about the just prison break. First of all, we heard there was attack on the just facility, and that after a few minutes we heard that the attackers are really under, the situation is under control. They were actually trapped within the compound, which means actually there was a coordinated response from security operatives. You know, that was good, but after some time it looked like it was getting out of control. Meaning that a lot still needs to be done. So it takes us still back to what I said earlier, that when you are using the same approach to address the same problem, after some time you notice that it's not working, then you re-strategize. And it's not just getting airplanes and getting the right equipment to fight the war. The personnel that we are using needs to be the right frame of mind. The personnel that we are using, I mean our security forces, they need to be actually encouraged the more, given the right equipment, the right training, and then the right support, the right psychological support that they need should be given to them to do, because it's not really, guerrilla warfare is not like the conventional war, and because it's the way terrorists operate, it doesn't give you a warning. It's not like the conventional war that people just prepare and say, okay, we're going to do this or that. They just strike. So based on that, we need to be 24 hours ready. Our security forces need to be 24 hours ready, and always expecting something to happen. So, and for that to happen, then we need to put, the personnel, the military personnel, the police force, and all the security operatives in the right frame of mind, the right motivation that they need, the right salary, the right payment, the right welfare packages that they deserve should be given to them. Because when you are doing the captain, then you are ready to die. But if you are ready to die, and then you look back and see that you don't have the right support for your family, the right insurance, the right everything. I'm not saying there is not, but I'm saying we need to look at that. For us to win the war against guerrilla warfare, against terrorism, against attacks like this, then our security forces need to be well motivated, need to be really, really ready to go all the way out against this terror situation. And that's it. I think having deployed a lot of money, a lot of resources to fighting this if you look at the budgets over the years, I mean, it's colossal, showing you that it's not really about the money. It's about doing those small things that we need to do, like, as I said earlier, motivation, like the right insurance, and letting the person who is fighting for the country know that by the time if something happens, of course, he's protected, the family is protected, the whatever ambition he had when alive will be taken care of. I'm not saying anyone will just be ready to die, but by the time you sign into the military or even to the police force, you know something could happen, and then, but you need the right frame of mind to go all out, and that has to come by way of insurance, by way of motivation, by way of the right packages while you are still doing the job. Yep.
Okay, it's a fine place to leave Daily Trust, even as I'm staring at this story. Kaduna Abuja train, racketeers connive with officials, buy tickets with fake names. Well, they need to take a look at that. But let's leave it there for Daily Trust. Ayo.
Everyone really does have a job to do on that one. Well, Nigerian Tribune leads with the COVID-19 Omicron variant story as well. That's what you have on the front page. FG puts Nigerians on alert. You'll find the details of the story on pages 4 and 5. And look at the riders. Canada detects first cases from 2 travelers from Nigeria. And meanwhile, federal government says, we don't have the variant in Nigeria, at least it's not been detected. So then this one, Ayade suspends 2021 Calabar Carnival. World must prepare. Omicron poses high global risk, says WHO. Life, job becoming difficult for the unvaccinated. And then has a list of what to know. Well, the interesting angle to this is that Canada detected its first cases from 2 travelers from Nigeria. I think it's time for some, what's that word now, contact tracing?
Yes, exactly. And Ayo is very interesting now, because when you talk about the fact that the 2 cases they've just detected are from Nigeria, that's, they have the source, traveling source is Nigeria. You know, it gives a cause for alarm, gives cause for worry. And that brings us to the fact I keep talking about, which is what actually is the rate of testing that we have in terms of, when you say you don't have a case like this, you know, is it foolproof? How would you say assuredly that,
I mean, you know, as we know, people, sometimes it's just voluntary. Many people don't even know that they have it.
Exactly, that's the point I'm making.
So is it a question of government not testing or people not even, you know?
So we need to ramp up. That's the point I'm making, that we need to ramp up. When you say we don't have that yet, South Africa and Nigeria is just like one country. You know the volume of Nigerians who go to South Africa and come back and vice versa. So you know that actually, if it's in South Africa, if it's in Africa, any part of Africa at all, then you know it could be in Nigeria.
Okay.
So the fact that, what I'm trying to say in essence is that we need to ramp up testing. We need to encourage more people. What the federal government is doing right now is very good, going to the Secretariat to do testing.
Okay, well, right under the nameplate, Kaduna begins 4-day working format for civil servants. Stories on page 25. And this interesting one, on page 30, states funding police. That's Governor Fayemi saying that the states have already been funding police. This is a well-known fact, right?
Yeah.
So one just wonders in what context that is when you want to find out the details. Above the nameplate, fuel price hike will compound hardship of Nigerians, ascribed to northern leaders. Differ on designation of bandits as terrorists. Warn against release of Nnamdi Kanu. Well, it's even that alone, it's like a whole newspaper, if you ask me. But what do you make of that?
A lot of issues, let me speak specifically about the fuel situation. They're talking about fuel price and all of those. I don't know what we are thinking at this time. Removing subsidy from, I'm not saying, as a business journalist, I've always talked about the need to, if you want to not privatize, if you really want to deregulate, then you deregulate fully. You don't do partial deregulation. When you do partial deregulation, you open the door for a whole lot of abuse and maneuverings, and that creates a whole lot of inflation and compounds the very problem that you're actually trying to address. So I support deregulation, but it's a kind of a systematic deregulation, a clear deregulation that you will do, and then you know that you leave the market for the private sector. Actually, government is actually importing fuel. It's importing. NNPC is still more or less like when I say more or less, like the monopoly for fuel importation, even when we can't refine our products here in Nigeria. So when you now remove fuel subsidy and the NNPC is still the one importing, it's just like government itself doing business. I say, okay, I want to be the monopoly for this. So I am thinking that right now is the very, very bad time for us to be talking about removing the subsidy. We didn't do it when we were supposed to do that. Right now, we should be thinking about COVID-19 is already affecting everything about the economy. So right now, government should be thinking about how do we relieve the shocks? What can we do to relieve the shocks for the economy? So I don't think it's the right time for us to remove subsidy now. Something has to be done. Maybe wait for a little more time and...
Well, even that argument, there can never be a good time to do
but I know
take a very deep conversation.
2 digits and all of those. It's very, very...
Well, let's leave it there with the Nigerian Tribune this morning, Marcel.
Well, I'm taking a look at the Vanguard, and you look at what's on the front page. It's still Omicron COVID. That's how they've named it. We're on alert. Don't be aloof, federal government wants. All relevant agencies on high alert. That's according to FAN. We're awaiting directives from Presidential Steering Committee. That's from NCAA. Omicron not detected in Nigeria yet, from NCDC. Variant highlights how unsafe our situation is. That's from WHO. 2 travelers from Nigeria test positive for Omicron variant in Canada. Banning flights from Africa not out of place. That's according to virologists. Says presidency legislature frustrating local vaccine production. So page 5 will give you all of the details. You have a number of other stories here. Ebonyi, Anambra tens over killing of youth. 3 policemen. So we continue to see this in the southeast of the country, where it was seen that security agents, there is tension somewhat between security agents and the youths in the area. And we continue to see stories like this where policemen are losing their lives, more frequently. It's a very worrisome situation, isn't it, Marcel?
Talking about, I think it is. I keep talking about, if you're talking about the escalation of the problem in the south, if there's the problem in the southeast in terms of restiveness or what have you, I don't think it's as really problematic as that. But there is this idea that is gaining traction, the issue of the drug, the issue of Olomili and all of those. And I think it has a way of creating some of these scenarios that you're talking about. And it's good that some groups in the southeast, the Ohaneze, the Nzuko-Muna, the rest of them, they are talking, and the leadership entirely in the southeast are talking to see how to, on their own, fight against this issue of it was called crack cocaine. Actually, that's Olomili. When you talk about Olomili, it's like a crack cocaine, and it's gaining traction because COVID has actually created problems for some drug traffickers and things like that. So it's kind of in Nigeria, it's kind of localized. And then in different parts of the country, you see crack cocaine being diluted and being used for other things, making it very accessible to young people, the bricklayers and all those. And then what have you, drug abuse, people use that, and when they take that, it creates a kind of fake energy in them, and they begin to do certain things like rape cases and all of tourism, not just in the southeast. So I think law enforcement agencies should look at that drug abuse case, it's silent, but almost in the streets, some streets. You have in some parts of the country, not just in the southeast, crack cocaine is gaining traction, and we seem not to be doing much about it because the information is not really out there.
You think it is silent with all the headlines it's making?
Yes, the point I'm making in terms of the actions being taken, corporate actions being taken. Right now, the actions that are being taken are just individual actions, willing or the kind of actions taken by communities, groups in the area, and all of those town unions. They're coming out to say, this, we're going to do this, we're going to stop this by hook or by crook. So I want a situation where government itself will, federal government, state governments will rise up to that to say, let's take this. National Assembly should even look at that so we can nip the problem in the bud before it becomes a problem. If you look at what happened in the Northeast and all of it started like that. Drug abuse. Okay. Talked about codeine and all of the way of mixing things and whatever. And before you know, the youths began to take that. And what you had subsequently was a kind of escalation of violence. Rape cases from there, and then terrorism got even worse. So if you don't nip the problem of drug abuse in the bud, then you over time you're going to get cases like what you have in the Northeast right now.
Well, as we know, government always has its job cut out for them. For now, we have to thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Dr. Marcel Mbamalu is Editor-in-Chief, Prime Business Africa, and he's also a development journalist, journalism expert. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ayo, and good to be here.
All right, so we take a break now, and right after which we'll take on the issues for the day. Just stay with us.